For today's headlines, cruelest day of war. Philippines considering nuclear anew under Rody executive order. Mall vaccination card requirement not needed. Japan inks grassroots development deal. International arrivals spike. Senate reviewing oil deregulation law. Taytay begins children vaccination drive. Mass blackouts hit parts of Taiwan. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is March 4, 2022, and these are the latest news of this Friday morning. As the Philippines move to blunt rising oil prices amid Russia's expansionist move in Europe, Vladimir Putin's forces ratcheted their assault on Ukraine, capturing the city of Kherson, the first major urban center to fall since Moscow invaded a week ago. The Russian occupiers are in all parts of the city and are very dangerous, Gennady Lakuta, head of the regional administration, wrote on messaging service Telegram last Wednesday. The mayor of the port city of 290,000, Igor Kolikev, announced the discussions with armed guests in Kherson city administration. He wrote in a Facebook post that they had no weapons and were not aggressive. They show that they are working to secure the city and are trying to deal with the consequences of the invasion. They are having huge difficulties with the collection and burial of the dead, the delivery of food and medicine, the collection of garbage, the management of accidents, and more. Kolikev said that he had made no promises to the invading forces, but asked them not to shoot people, while also announcing a night curfew in the city and a restriction on car traffic. The Department of Energy has proposed to create the Commission on Nuclear Energy, a specialized regulatory body that will be tasked to safeguard the integration of nuclear power in the country's energy mix. The proposal came as President Rodrigo Duterte issued Executive Order 164 to aid the country's quest for energy security by looking into nuclear power as an energy source. Signed on February 28 but only made public Thursday, EO 164, entitled Adopting a National Position for a Nuclear Energy Program, will serve as the Philippines' guide and framework as it looks at nuclear energy for dependable power, Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi said. Cusi's underling, Undersecretary Gerardo Erguiza Jr., on Thursday said the new agency should be composed of professionals capable of safely harnessing nuclear energy. He added that there needs to be a separate specialized body that is knowledgeable on the nuclear industry to see to it that everything, with all the safeguards needed, is duly monitored and implemented. Erguiza emphasized that moves to consider the viability of nuclear energy development and utilization in the Philippine setting must be taken within the context of energy security and non-political issues. He said that adopting a nuclear program is not just about constructing nuclear power plants, it is a matter of energy and national security, and should it be decided in the future that the Philippines is fit and finally ready to embark on its nuclear energy journey, then they would be able to look back and appreciate this landmark issuance. Meanwhile, the Department of the Interior and local government on Thursday said COVID-19 vaccination cards are no longer required when entering malls and areas under Alert Level 1. The ILG spokesperson Jonathan Malaya said that the move to lift the COVID-19 vaccine cards upon mall entries was based on the recommendation of the Trade and Industry Secretary Ramon Lopez. However, he clarified that vaccination cards are only required in establishments considered as 3Cs, or the closed, crowded, close-contact venues, such as restaurants, spas, movie houses, or similar establishments. He also noted that some malls are still requiring people to present their vaccination cards before they are allowed entry. The Interagency Task Force placed the National Capital Region and 37 other areas to Alert Level 1 from March 1 to 15. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
Oh, vaccination, isolation. Gotta keep up with my nutrition. Gotta maintain my body condition. Then I can take my vaccination. What do I choose? What do I take? As long as it is not a fake. AstraZeneca, Moderna, BioNTech, even Sinovac, okay na. Babakuna ka ba? 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 Vaccination for the nation, no more isolation. With vaccination. Babakuna ka ba? 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 Paturok, paturok, paturok.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
We are back on Tribune News on Q. The Japanese government has inked a pact with the Philippines to fund 4 projects worth 19.9 million pesos, which will acquire ambulances and medical equipment in 3 local government units, as well as delivery trucks to help local farmers in 3 other provinces. The grants would help procure 2 ambulances for Parañaque City, rebuild the 66-year-old Grace Park Health Center in Caloocan City, acquire medical equipment for the Rural Health Unit of Palo Leyte, and provide 3 refrigerated trucks for small farmers in Laguna, Rizal, and Antique. The funding is part of Japan's grant assistance for grassroots human security projects, or GGP, in the Philippines, first launched in 1989 to help countries reduce poverty. Japanese Ambassador Kazuhiko Koshikawa said that these projects will be implemented in direct consultation with the local governments and non-government organizations. They can carry out these projects that meet the need of each region. The 4 new grants bring to 553 the total grassroots projects Japan has funded in the Philippines. One of the recipients, Ahon sa Hirap Incorporated, said the grant would benefit more than 3,000 farmers and allow them to supply fresher agricultural products directly to their partner institutions, including supermarkets and fast food chains. The Bureau of Immigration on Thursday reported a record rate of international passenger arrivals since the reopening of borders on February 10, 2022. BI Commissioner Jaime Morente announced that the number of international arriving travelers has increased more by than 40% compared to January of this year. Morente said the total number of arriving passengers increased to 211,899 from only 150,740 at the start of this year. With this, Morente expressed optimism that the travel industry would recover quickly. He said that he is positive that with our continued adherence to health protocols, we are slowly on the road to recovery. In other news, the Senate Committee on Energy has expressed readiness to amend the Oil Deregulation Act of 1998 after Malacanang, in view of skyrocketing oil prices, called on Congress to review the law to give the government more power to intervene in the supply chain. The Department of Energy is currently awaiting a favorable response from Congress on its proposal to include the unbundling of fuel prices among the proposed amendments to Republic Act 8479. Likewise, the department has asked lawmakers to remove doubt as to the power of the DOE to implement the unbundling of price components. Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi noted that transparency frameworks in the computation of oil prices would ensure that the public is protected and that any increase would be competitive, fair, and reasonable. The DOE has issued Department Circular 2019-05-0008 to unbundle the pump price by requiring oil companies to submit the detailed components of both the price adjustment and the total price from the bulk down to the pump price level. By breaking down the data, the DOE said it can better understand the composition of the prices and therefore apply necessary actions in case of discrepancies. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us. You are still watching Tribune News on Q. Taytay Rizal will start the vaccination of children ages 5 to 11 against the dreaded coronavirus disease in all public and private schools next week, the local government announced yesterday. Mayor Jorik Gakula said parents who want their children get vaccinated should coordinate with their children's respective schools for the vaccination schedules and requirements. The mayor ordered the public and private schools who are interested to write a letter of request addressed to him and submit it to their municipal health office. Meanwhile, power failures were reported in many parts of Taiwan on Thursday, following what the presidential office said was an incident at a power plant. The blackouts occurred after 9 a.m. across the island, from the capital Taipei to central Taichung City and southern Pingtung County, reports said. The electricity failures came as President Tsai Ing-wen was met to meet the former United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. They also came a day after a delegation of former U.S. security officials visited the island, a trip denounced by Beijing. The presidential office said an initial probe showed that the blackouts were caused by an incident at a power plant in southern Kaohsiung City, and the statement did not elaborate further. It said power supply at the president's office was normal, although a scheduled live stream of Tsai's meeting with Pompeo was canceled. TV footage showed policemen directing cars as traffic lights failed and some shops were forced to stay closed due to the lack of power. Taiwan High-Speed Rail said an unspecified number of its trains were affected by the power outage, and Taiwan Railways Administration said that some of its trains operating in southern Tainan, Pingtung, and central Lanzhou were delayed or suspended. The country does occasionally experience large power outages, particularly during warmer seasons when demand spikes. And that wraps up the stories this morning, but before we go, we would like to thank the following: SM Store, Aranda City, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, Empire Eastland Holdings Incorporated, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin, a Republic of China, for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista on Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.
Devastating war in Ukraine is just